Hi everyone, welcome to the start of a reading vlog that I was not supposed to start filming today because I'm currently in the middle of another one and I don't like doing this. I have been doing it a bit this year, but my intention was to finish the other one before I started this vlog. Yeah, that's not happening because I don't feel like reading the other books. It's been a week. Oh, it's been a week. And I just need to read a hockey book tonight, and the one that I'm going to read is the first book that I need to read for this vlog, which is my arc of Possessive Puckboy by Easton, Finley and Saxon James. I just need to read it. It also doesn't help because my team, the Mustangs, have been releasing their, well, so far they've been releasing their import signings and their transfers from the two Sydney teams. So all I've been getting is hockey news. So that's on my brain. And in 2 weeks we have our charity game. When this vlog goes up, I will have already been to that game because there will be footage in this vlog for it. I'm actually filming this starting this 2 weeks early. I've just had my nails done in orange for my team. Well, hopefully they'll last the next 2 weeks. I haven't had a lot of luck with my nails recently, but we are keeping our fingers crossed. 2 of my nails are super short because they just keep breaking. It's doing my head in. But we're going to try. We're going to read Possessive Puckboy. And just to round out this vlog, I have 3 other books aside from Possessive Puckboy that I want to read. I have Hockey Wife by Kate Meader, which I picked up last year and just haven't had a chance to read yet. I have Shoot Your Shot by Lexi Lafleu Brown, which is a book that I've been eagerly anticipating. I do follow her on TikTok, even though I haven't been on TikTok in months. I find her awesome because she is the wife of a hockey player. She is a goalie herself, or has been a goalie in the past. So she knows the sport and it's supposed to be really good. And the 4th book for this vlog will be Rookie Mistake. Are we shocked that I can't remember the title of books that I'm reading? Because it's not Rookie Mistake. That's by L.A. Witt and Anazabo. The book I am talking about is Rookie Recovery. I'll put it on the screen because this was a book that I started in a try chapter vlog. This one I'm still not 100% certain about because there's a couple of things in the keywords and bits and pieces that I'm not sure about. I think it's an age gap. I think there's some power dynamics because one of the main characters works for the team. I don't know whether they're a physiotherapist or the team doctor or something. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. I started the first chapter and I was interested enough in it to keep going, so we'll try it in this vlog and see if I end up finishing it. But yeah, otherwise we'll be reading these books. They're all very blue, inadvertent theme. They're all blue, which I suppose makes sense. Ice hockey. I'm going to make myself some dinner. I'm making little mini pizzas and then I will eat them and then start Possessive Puckboy, and I will update you when I have an update. Hi everyone, it's like 10:30. I've finished Possessive Puckboy and it was just a delightful time, as it always is when I'm reading an Easton, Finley and Saxon James collaboration. I can't complain, this is what I needed on my Friday night. So this is Parker and Connor's stories, and we're just going to put it out there. Parker is a billionaire, but they're everywhere in stories. Again, not trying to glorify them. Parker is a tech billionaire who was bullied in high school, and Connor was someone who came up with a nickname for him when he was in high school that then was taken up by everyone else. And even though Parker wasn't necessarily the person who was bullying him, he was a bystander bully in that he never ever stood up or said anything about it, despite being kind of the leader figure for a lot of the jocks within his school. And so Parker's held on to that for all this time. And Possessive Puckboy is really Connor's bi-awakening kind of story. And when Connor is faced with having to work with Parker, and Parker is not going easy on him and is determined to make his life difficult, it forces Connor to really begin to reconsider who he is as a person, because it calls into question what he knows about himself. We know that Connor is very much the protector figure for his family. He has 3 brothers in the NHL. He plays with one of his brothers. The previous book was his brother's book, and he was basically called out for being too overprotective of his brother. So he's still reeling from kind of that realization and the sort of the fallout of that relationship with his younger brother. And so when Parker's back, and eventually they reach an understanding and they sort of become this friends of convenience. It's like a friends of convenience thing, because Parker does not have a friendship group or a family group around him. His father passed away prior to the start of the book. His mother is traveling. And fun fact, Parker's father played 2 seasons for the same team that he bought. Like that's part of the reason why he bought the team, was to honor his father, and it was something that they had in common. And so when they start this sort of friends of convenience sort of story, it begins to help Connor to recognize, one, what kind of person he was in the past and the fact that he doesn't want to be that person. And then he begins to start questioning his sexuality and what that even means for him, because it's never been something he's even considered, because he's been too busy protecting his younger brothers and worrying about their reputation and how people will perceive them. So it's never been something he's ever thought about. And it shocks the hell out of him that it's Parker that brings that out in him. And so they begin their relationship, which is obviously complicated because Parker is the team owner. And along the way, it also calls into question for Connor whether he even likes playing hockey. He's good. He's a defenseman. He has a really strong reputation. He is well liked and people like the way that he plays, and he is damn good at his job, but he doesn't like it. And this is really part of the conflict towards the back end of the book. There's no real internal third act breakup kind of thing. I like that about these books, but there is all of this kind of internal pressure from Connor on himself on what he expects and what he thinks Parker expects of him. Parker, he doesn't know that Connor feels this way about the sport. And I think that is really interesting. There's been a couple of books I've read recently, and I can't remember off the top of my head which ones they were, where they've had characters who play professional sports questioning why it is that they do what they do and whether they actually enjoy it. And I think that is a really important thing, because particularly for Connor and his family, Connor and his brothers were thrown into the sport from a really young age for various reasons, and their parents are their managers, and basically hockey has been their life. And so he's never ever questioned it because he's just been good at it. He's been good, he's been successful. And so to suddenly begin to question whether he even likes what it is that he's doing, that's a huge thing for him. You still have all the cameos from the Queer Collective. We get this sneak peek at the first MMC who will be part of the next book. That one's going to be fun. I mean, these are all fun, but that one's going to be fun. So yes, I had a thoroughly delightful time, and thank you to Eden Finley and Saxon James's PR team for sending me the review copy. This has just made my entire week better. I will be back to update you when I pick up the next book that I'm planning on reading for this vlog. I don't know which one's going to be yet. So you'll know when I know. I can't remember the last time I filmed a clip for this particular reading vlog, but I have now read Rookie Recovery by Gemma, Croft and Lex Easton. Full confession, I read this while I was away for the weekend, and I have a tiny little bit of footage in the car of the countryside because I was away for the second birthday of my cousin's child. So my second cousin, I think that's how it works. So we were up in the country for his birthday. We stayed the night up there at one of my family's places, and I really didn't want to film there because that's a bit weird. And also their privacy, but it was beautiful. It's a brand new house. They've just finished building it. It's a lovely house. And I spent most of Saturday from 12 o'clock onwards chasing after my niece and a bunch of other kids, which was fun, but I'm so tired. And then when we got back after the party, we were just, hanging out as a family. There was a bunch of us staying with our relatives, and we were just kind of chatting and eating, and the night went on for quite a bit. I didn't start reading anything until after 9 o'clock, which for me is unheard of. And that's when I started Rookie Recovery, and I went back to the beginning. So for those of you who don't know, I did try the first chapter of Rookie Recovery in one of my try chapter videos. It's a book that has been on my radar since it came out last year. I actually purchased it when it came out, and then there was some mixed reviews and things like that. And also just in general, my feeling about relationship dynamics when you have a person in any kind of position of authority. In this case, our older MMC in this story is a physical therapist. I was a little bit unsure of how this was going to go, but this really does lean much more into the light, fluffy rom-com side of things. Even though there is a huge ethical issue in this book, it is part of their relationship conflict and internalization kind of stuff, but externally it's not something that's dealt with, which I have issues with that for other reasons, but in the case of this book, it did alleviate some of the stress for me. So we have Jamie, who is a physical therapist. He is the physical therapist for the Boston hockey team, and he is a former defenseman. So he played professional hockey until he blew out his knee. As we find out through the book, there are a lot of reasons why what happened to stop him from playing professionally could have been prevented, and that's kind of what drove him to becoming a physical therapist. It's also a huge source of conflict between our two protagonists in the third act. So our younger MMC, because this is an age gap story, is Archie Bowman, who is a British player. He is kind of this up-and-coming hotshot star. He never really intended to get into professional hockey. He just kind of started playing it and was scouted totally by accident. He comes from a family of rugby players, and he also played rugby growing up because he's one of 5 boys. But he was scouted and he's ended up in the US and he's playing professionally, but he's bounced around from a lot of teams. And so he has this very much imposter syndrome kind of personality, and that he never quite trusts that he's going to be fully accepted by his teammates. Jamie and Bowie meet when the team take Bowie out for drinks one night, and Bowie hits on Jamie, not realizing that he's the PT. And from then on, Bowie is very much this golden retriever, cheeky Brit. Like, he just is forever flirting with Jamie. Jamie's trying to keep these professional boundaries up, and Bowie's just kind of bulldozing straight through them. Most of this story takes place in the preseason, in the lead up to training camp, and Bowie has a shoulder injury that acts up, and Jamie is his PT for that, obviously. And so, I mean, this is where the ethical and moral issues will creep in to this story. Just, if you're reading it, if you can suspend disbelief, you'll probably be totally fine. But we also know that Bowie is just homesick. He just wants to have a place and people and support network around him. He's really close to his mum. He's constantly calling her throughout the book to catch up with her. We know that he misses that family connection and he's by himself in the US. And we also know that Jamie, even though he comes across as really grumpy and stern, is also missing that connection to hockey, and Bowie helps him get back into sort of beer league hockey through the course of the book and helping him to reconnect with hockey. Bowie initially doesn't realize that Jamie played professionally or that he was one of the up-and-coming defensemen when he was playing 10 years earlier. And he also doesn't know that Jamie had a knee injury, and that Jamie is also responsible for why he let his knee injury get so bad by continuing to play on it instead of following his doctor's advice. There's a whole lot of that sort of stuff going in. I can't ignore the moral, ethical issues of the relationship, but I can appreciate that for the sake of a cheesy rom-com queer hockey romance, it didn't bog down the story. A lot of it is internalized for Jamie in who he is and what he's trying to do, but a lot of that is also complicated by the fact that he is trying to distance himself from hockey because he can't play professionally anymore, and so he's finding that really difficult, and he doesn't know how to connect with it in a different capacity, and so he just feels like he's missing out as well, which is a really interesting kind of parallel for these two characters. Also, there are some really hilarious date scenes. They end up going to a trolley museum, and trolley is in the British and the Australian trolley, which is the carts that you push in the supermarket. Gosh, that trolley museum seems entirely disturbing, but it was so funny and so laugh out loud, just ridiculous, that I kind of loved it. Also, Bowie is constantly cooking, and it was nice just to have a character who really enjoyed cooking for another character in the story. So yes, that is Rookie Recovery. I'll be back in the next couple of days to talk about the next book that I'm reading for this vlog. Hello friends, I am here to update you on on Hockey Wife, oh my gosh, words, by Kate Meader, which is the most recent installment in the Rookie Rebels series. This series is, like, if you like Tegan Hunter's Carolina Comet series, you might enjoy this series. And it follows a team of hockey players in Chicago. And in this case, we are following Dylan Banks, who has recently been traded to Chicago. He's a veteran. He's been playing for many years. He probably only has a couple of years left, really, in his playing career. And before he retires, he's determined to win a championship ring. And he ends up meeting Georgia when he's in Vegas. They have a really great time together. They get to know each other, and they get married in Vegas. They don't sleep together, but they get married. And then in the morning when he wakes up, Georgia is gone. And it turns out she is a socialite. She comes from a very wealthy family, but she struggles under her family's expectations, and she sends him annulment papers. However, they then discover that they are both living in Chicago, and for different reasons, they both agree to continue their marriage as a fake marriage. And this has to do with Georgia convincing her parents that she is not just a party girl, a party socialite girl. And when the information is leaked that they're actually married, Banks keeps up the ruse because it thrills his family. The hijinks in this were just hilarious. Like, there is an age gap. There is a lack of understanding of each other initially as they grow and they get to know one another and they end up living together. They get to understand each other's perspectives. So I had a lot of fun with it. It was like, it's an easy read. And it was fun. There were a few content warnings in here. There is the death of a sibling. Georgia was a twin. Her twin sister had a heart condition her entire life, and before this book passed away. And part of the pressure that her parents are placing on Georgia is to open a charity in her sister's name. However, Georgia is trying to stand on her own 2 feet. And while she doesn't resent her sister in any way, she did spend all of her life growing up in the shadow of her sister's illness, and so she's trying to find space in the world for her and for people to see her for who she is. She also does charity work for a charity where people volunteer their time and a gift to give to people who have terminal conditions, and so that is discussed in the book. And there is a patient that Georgia works with who, through the course of the book, does die, so be aware of that. It does also mention the historical off-page death of a parent, and Georgia gets hit by a hockey puck to the head and ends up with stitches, which might be a common theme in some of these books. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I like Georgia as a character. I think she grew a lot through the book. I had a wonderful time. Great for this vlog. Onwards to the next one. Alright, I just got home. I don't know why I'm still wearing this jersey. It is still stinking hot outside and I'm boiling. But I went to the game. It was really fun. We lost, but it's a preseason game. And I don't think we've ever won a preseason game, or at least not in the last 3 years that I've been following the ice hockey. I don't think we've ever won a preseason game against the Ice. And yet, in season, we have beaten them 7 out of the last 8 games. So, am I worried? Not really. It was fun though. It was close up until the last period. I think it ended up being 5-3. So, that was fun. But now I need to go to bed because it's 11:30 at night and I've only just walked in the door. So, I will check in with you when I have read another book. Hi everyone. So I'm here with an update for Shoot Your Shot by Lexi Lafleu Brown, which is another one of the hockey romances I said I was going to read in this vlog. So I finally did read it. This one is a contemporary romance story. It is about Jalen, who has kind of got his second chance in the NHL, and it's his romance with an aspiring tattoo artist called Lucy. And they meet by chance at a bar, and almost all of their interactions initially in the first half of the book involve Jalen knocking into Lucy and spilling a drink, or literally just spilling things all over her. And of course, this is a little bit frustrating for Lucy at the beginning, but when a chance encounter with Lucy before one of his NHL games leads to him having the best game ever, he begins to consider Lucy his lucky charm. And superstitious hockey players being superstitious hockey players, he decides that he needs to keep this friendship and connection going, and it eventually turns into a romance. This is really quirky and fun. It's doing, I think, some things that other hockey romances that are currently being published in this sort of rom-com hockey romance space are doing. Lexi, the author, has played hockey, and her husband is an ex-NHL player as well, and so she is very, very well versed in the world of professional ice hockey. And so it has that real authentic layer to it, and just some really delightful, fun characters. A few content warnings though for this one. I will say that there is anxiety and depression and panic attack representation on page. Jalen is dealing with all of those things. It does mention the death of a friend due to a drug overdose, and we also have an alcoholic and absentee father representation, who the father does feature in the book. That's Lucy's father, and their relationship is not fantastic as a result of that. And it has really impacted what Lucy has chosen to do with her life and her career. So just keep that in mind. One thing that I really loved about the story is that they initially reconnect after a one-night stand when Lucy is painting a mural for the arena, and I just thought that was fun. So I'm glad I read it. It was utterly delightful and a good way to wrap up this reading vlog. And I will confess that running multiple reading vlogs around the same time means that my brain does not function. So we read 4 hockey romance books in this vlog. I am currently staring at like literally in front of me, one of my other most anticipated hockey romances of the year, Rachel Reed's new book. I haven't read it yet. It's staring at me. But this vlog needs to go up because Possessive Puckboy has just been released. So I reviewed that way back at the start of this video. It is now out. Saxon James and Eden Finley are just a delightful pairing of authors who write quirky, fun, silly hockey romances, and I'm all here for that. Rookie Recovery was a delightful surprise in just how fun it was in that rom-com space as well. And Hockey Wife by Kate Meader. I mean, I've read the entire Rookie Rebels series and I just enjoy coming back to the characters. I think they're always just a little bit fun. And then of course there is Shoot Your Shot, which is well worth checking out for a traditionally published hockey romance as well. Alrighty, on that note, we are going to wrap this up. I hope that you have enjoyed following along on the journey of hockey romances and me getting back into it, because we're officially back into it. So yes, expect more hockey romances in the very near future. In the comments, I'd love to know if you've read any of these books or if you're planning on picking any of them up, or if you have hockey romance recommendations for me, feel free to leave them down below. Otherwise, feel free to leave any kind of hockey emoji or a blue emoji because all of these books are blue. I hope that wherever you're in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.